I have an anecdotal story. When I just finished high school and I downloaded Tinder, because one of my friends told me to, and I matched with a guy, and about 2 like sentences in, he said, "Oh, what's your bra size?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" And he was like, "Come on, man, I gotta know." And I uninstalled the app, and I never used it ever again. I never used any dating app like that. Did you tell him? No, of course not! Yeah! I was like 18? I was like, bro, like, what the fuck? Yeah, I uninstalled that app so fucking fast. What color are your underwear? Blue! Blue! Bro had that aggressive riz. Yeah. He got more than that guy! Look, asking a girl for her tit size is kind of fucking weird. Tenders for fast hookups? I didn't know that! I just got out of school! Yeah. Do you have female chromosomes? I have extra ones too! Duh! Alright, let's do it. Let's do it! Alright, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Boom.
So the other day, I was thinking about dating apps, right? And I was wondering how they were getting on. And it turns out that they are not doing great. Bumble's actually down 92% since it first went public. And Match Group, the company which owns basically every other dating app, is
Yeah, it's a monopoly, essentially. They all bought each other out and stuff.
Doing pretty badly as well. People are falling out of love with dating apps. And this is affecting Gen Z in particular, who are becoming less likely to spend money on the apps. In fact,
that's because Tinder used to be free. Bro, it used to be free. Now they sucked people in, and now you have to pay for it. Yeah, no shit, people don't want to use them. Yeah, they're farming so hard for money. There's like a platinum edition, like gold edition, diamond edition subscription. It's insane.
Forbes Health ran a survey and found that 79% of Gen Z respondents had reported experiencing some form of dating app burnout. You might have even seen that the companies have resorted to some interesting marketing techniques. For example, Bumble got in trouble for some ads that they ran trying to convince women.
Thou shalt not give up on dating and become a nun. You know full well a vow of celibacy is not the answer. Wow, that is actually so insanely cringe. That is insanely cringe. What if you want to be a celibate? That's the word, right? Celibate? Yeah, like some people kind of just want to, man. It's what they're selling. I know, but it's like, oh, you know what's a good comparison? Okay, McDonald's comes out with the what is it called? The McRib, and it's made of pork meat, and then being like, you know full well that even though it's against your religion to eat pork, you should do it anyway because it's tasty. That's kind of like essentially what they're saying. In like obviously advertiser terms. It's super cringe. Yeah.
To no longer be celibate, I guess. People weren't too happy with these adverts. Now, this is a far cry from the promise that dating apps made for us. When they first launched, it would be difficult to believe that around a decade later, they'd be launching $500 a month membership programs.
Bro, actual rich people that pay for $500 a month on Tinder, they don't use Tinder. This is some crazy stupid shit, man.
If we try to understand how we ended up here, we maybe can come to some interesting conclusions, not just about these apps, but maybe about human relationships more broadly and the assumptions that we might make about each other. The first thing that's worth explaining is that the decline of these apps is in large part a signal of broader trends in technology. There's this idea of enshittification.
Absolutely. It's one of my favorite things to come out recently in recent times about how companies basically how they ruin their apps that used to be good because of profit. Make a dookie-fy.
Phenomenon of online platforms degrading the quality of their services over time, leading to an overall decline in user satisfaction and overall value. This is something that's really broad across technology. It is best characterized through Airbnb, starting initially as a promised land where you could rent out a spare room at the fraction of the cost of a hotel, but ending up in a situation where people are paying $200 cleaning fees and have curfews and service fees for a rental. The most egregious example of enshittification is BMW, who in 2022 launched a subscription to just unlock the heated seats.
Yep. That's also a good one. Yep, I remember this. Didn't they roll that back? Because people got so mad? Yeah.
Though already in the car. Dating apps are not...
Yeah, people are saying, oh yeah, next you're going to tell me that brakes are going to be under the subscription too.
Into this problem, as fundamentally they are technology companies. The most obvious manifestation of this enshittification is the idea that subscriptions are king. I don't know if you know this, but Tinder actually has 3 separate subscription options on top of the $500 a month subscription.
That is so sad, man. Tinder used to just... Again, this is from way before this started. I remember I just downloaded the app and you could swipe around and it didn't matter at all. Now it's like you have to pay for everything.
Plan. These look more like insurance plans than dating.
Prioritize likes, message before matching. Oh, so you can pay extra money to harass them because they won't talk to you, but you should message them. You like them? You paid $500 a month, you should be able to message them. See the likes you've sent in the last 7 days. What a fucking stupid... Why would you want this? 1 free boost a month. See who likes you. 5 super likes a week. Hide advertisement. Oh my god. Juji! Oh my gosh! What is wrong with you? What did you see? Dogs needs outside. No, he fucking doesn't. Shut up. No, he just saw someone. They were like walking down the street. He's like really defensive. He doesn't like Tinder. No, he doesn't. No, it's at the door. Don't worry about it. All right.
Dating apps have not become immune from this subscription mania, and their monetization strategy has led to them feeling more like a gacha game. If you don't know what a gacha game is, it's a game that uses like a loot box mechanic where players buy in-game currency and use it to gamble effectively. In fact,
yeah, spending the currency is supposed to boost your chances of finding a match. Chad, if you spend a bunch of money on me, oh my gosh, maybe you could pull me in a dating app. Wow.
Tinder actually rolled out its own in-app currency that you could use to buy special features that would increase your chance of finding love. It's a very overt shift towards gamification.
Yeah, skip the line. DoorDash does this as well. It used to never be a thing where you wouldn't have to buy a subscription to just get your food. Now you can have a subscription for DoorDash, and then on top of that, if you pay extra, you can turbo boost it so that it gets to you over other clients that happen to be in the area. It's the same principle. Skip the line. You're skipping the line so that the driver gets to you faster. That never used to be a thing.
So finding love. It's a very overt shift towards gamification, towards implementing game-like mechanics in a non-gaming environment The literal CEO of the parent company of Tinder is a man named Bernard Kim, who was the former president of Zynga. If you don't know who Zynga are, they are the company that is responsible for all of the worst mobile games.
Oh, Zynga. Wait, they used to make Facebook games, did they not?
The ones that look like this, right?
Yeah.
And it's no surprise that these mechanics have been transferred directly from mobile games, which are some of the most addictive games in the world, to dating apps. This idea of gamification, broadly put, is simply just driving engagement and driving usership, not by providing a service, but by hijacking your brain's reward circuitry and making you addicted to the app rather than enjoying the app. As these apps have become increasingly gamified, people have responded much how they would respond to an actual game, by trying to exploit the mechanics of the game. In the world of
exploiting mechanics. Get more matches on Hinge with the simple hack. Oh my god, dude. It's actually like Genshin Impact. You're not pulling your favorite waifu, fucking stand on one leg and start spinning. Oh my gosh.
Dating, this manifests as Hinge hacks. So there's this whole world on TikTok, which I didn't know about, of people sharing techniques and tips that you can use to make your experience of using dating apps a little better. Some of these things include refreshing your Hinge feed by threatening to delete your account, which supposedly flags Hinge and makes you way more likely to show up in other people's feed.
Yep.
Other people's decisions have been things like choosing to use AI wingmen to create a profile that is...
Oh my god, bro. An AI that doesn't know you at all and making you a profile? Oh my gosh. This is so dystopian, it's actually disgusting. That's so sad.
Optimized for these algorithms. Enshittification isn't necessarily a complete explanation, though, because despite the fact that many other services in technology have been getting worse and worse, the companies seem to still be doing great. And there are some unique dynamics of these apps that make them especially prone to collapse and that can help us understand the mass exodus. Part of it is simply the fact that these apps...
No, I genuinely think it's because of all the money that you have to spend. I still can't believe that Tinder used to be completely free and like maybe you paid like a little subscription to remove ads, but that was about it. When I started hearing about Tinder having like limited swipes, I was like, what? That never used to be a thing, ever.
Promote the idea that they'll literally change your life. Hinge, for example, markets itself as the dating app designed to be deleted, which is an extremely big promise. It's a promise that I personally, as a cynic, feel like isn't necessarily true. Hinge is owned by a $9 billion company, so, I don't think they want you to delete any of their apps. I should mention that I try to consult a variety of sources, and sometimes that leads you, especially with dating, down some uncomfortable rabbit holes. And so I want to maybe address a few preconceptions that people can often have after having had a bad experience with dating apps. They're not an enjoyable experience for anyone, regardless of gender identity. Around 80% of women report feeling some level of burnout, and around 74% of males report feeling some kind of burnout as well. The
only men is 74%. I just don't. Yeah, all the monetization is definitely part of the reason. I mean, honestly, it's limited swiping. I still can't get over that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep bringing it up. And then, you know what, it's funny? They always say, oh, you can have 500 swipes if you want to spend an extra $8 and you need to get more swipes. It's literally a gacha game.
The unenjoyable experience is pretty evenly split across the aisle. We have some very different problems that occur, but no set of problems is one more significant than the other. Interestingly enough, men outnumber women 3-1 on Bumble and Tinder, and yet women report higher rates of negative experiences. That's not to invalidate the fact that men obviously have incredibly high rates of negative experiences, but rather to emphasize the fact that nobody enjoys the experience of dating apps.
Again, my anecdotal story, and I never installed that crap ever again. My only experience. Oh my god. Probably why they aren't on it. No, that's not why. It's because women have an easier time finding a partner. They don't need dating apps, really. That's why you find less of them. All the women that are you know, 4s and 5s, they'll find someone. Yeah, they get bombarded and they just uninstall the app pretty quickly, obviously. Just by the nature of like finding someone. Whereas men stay on it for a while. You might get lucky here and there, but in general.
It isn't greener on anyone's side. Men are far more likely to experience feelings of rejection, feelings of being ignored, whereas it seems like the issues that women report are more
harassment.
Well, they're different at least, right?
Yeah, it's harassment. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And then that fucks over all the men that try to have like a normal conversation. Yep.
So a 2023 survey found that over half of women under 50 who'd used dating apps had been sent a sexually explicit message that they didn't ask for, which I think is an insanely high statistic. But generally, the issues that lead people to feel burnt out are more broadly the failure to find a good connection, being ghosted, being lied to, feeling rejected. And
also getting catfish. There's a lot of women that catfish men on dating apps. Because you can take a whole bunch of nice pictures of yourself and you look differently in real life. Either Photoshop or maybe it's from a couple of years ago. I've heard stories of men opening up pictures and it's just like a woman with a group of other women and they don't know which one's the woman that they're looking at. Yeah.
And having boring or not substantive conversations. Now, let's maybe understand a bit more about the user experience and what kind of leads to these super high rates of dissatisfaction and whether dating apps are actually benefiting from this or not. Because it seems like they aren't benefiting from this huge level of dissatisfaction that people are experiencing. Mm-hmm. I want to explain a little term from economics called adverse selection. Planet Money wrote a little piece explaining how adverse selection might be an important factor in understanding why dating apps have gotten so bad lately. It's possible that dating apps face adverse selection. Basically, a new app starts up and hopeless romantics looking for real love begin flocking to it. But so do sleazy types who lie on their dating profile. Over time, the earnest daters go on a bunch of bad dates, encountering people who have no interest in real relationships or whose profiles are completely misleading. Like lemons driving good cars out of the used car market, maybe sleazeballs push great catches out of dating apps and ultimately ruin the quality of the whole app experience.
Well, that's what I'm saying about the whole dating and like meeting people face to face is so much better than relying on dating apps where you're basically like at a glance looking at someone and trying to figure out if they're the life partner. There's always gonna be a moment where you just don't click. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, when you meet someone in real life and you look at them and you have like 2-word conversations, sometimes you'll be like, all right, this isn't working out. Like, that happens too. That happens in real life. Yeah. Yeah, it's basically just like, oh my god, my cat! What? You wanna go out? I opened the door, leave! Ridiculous! Oh my god. Ugh. Sorry.
So people go to a new app in the hopes of finding something better, and the cycle starts again. This idea of adverse selection is basically the idea that people can take advantage of, the meta on dating app to promote themselves as something they're not, and ultimately lead honest, well-intentioned users to feel like the apps don't have any other honest users because they're only interacting with people who know how to game the app. This is this whole idea.
Because an app is essentially like a game. When you play a game for long enough, you start figuring out the meta. And I'm talking about like a video game. Of course you're going to do that. A skill issue? I mean, it sucks because people just want a genuine connection.
Yeah, of, hinge hacks or using AI tools to beat the system. It doesn't necessarily make you a better person on a date, but it makes you more representative of what the market supposedly looks like to someone who's just downloaded the app. And it makes people who download the app feel like everyone is awful. There is a way to actually minimize these bad apples. This is something that's actually been done before. If you can give the users as much information as you can, they can make more informed decisions, right? That's intuitive. However, the more information you provide to those users, the harder it makes for the app to be gamified, because they can't rely on the fact that you don't know things about other people. This is...
Yep. Priority likes, send unlimited, see everyone who likes you. It's just gross. It's a little gotcha game, man. Chat, keep swiping, $8 more and you can get the love of your life. Keep it going.
Most clearly shown in the fact that Hinge's premium program, Hinge Plus and Hinge X, they both allow you to actually add more information about yourself. They allow you to filter your dates by location, by activity, and to fine-tune exactly what you're looking for, which inevitably leads to a better dating experience and reduces this problem of adverse selection. And this isn't just theoretical. We can take the example of OkCupid, which has actually gone through a bit of a transformation from being a dating app that dealt...
Oh my god, I read so many fucking dating profiles. These were so funny to read, man, back in the day. All sorts of screenshots on this site. God, it was so funny.
Dealt with this problem of bad apples a lot better than the new school of dating apps, into gradually becoming another Tinder clone. I found this comment of someone who described their experience, and I think it captures quite well what's going wrong with these apps. OkCupid used to be really great before they were sold off to Match. Match is the company that owns Tinder and Hinge and all of the other ones. It was a pretty simple concept that worked really well. Start people off by forcing them to answer, at a minimum, like 25 matching questions around things like politics, religion, handling money, hygiene, etc.
Hygiene, hobbies. There was people that would like write that they like My Little Pony in their profile. Yeah, you could really get to know a person on OkCupid through reading their profile. Even Seth was reading those back in the day. OkCupid profiles. They're so funny, dude.
Etc. Core factors that people would consider when dating, essentially. But the kicker was that you also got to specify how you would like your potential match to respond to the same question. And you got to weight that response based on how much you cared about that particular question. After about 25 questions, you could always get a large enough sample size to match people, but it worked best at matching people that had answered over 100 questions each. It was like magic. Anyone with over an 80% match on that site always ended up being a surefire, amazing conversation. What this person is describing, without necessarily realizing, is this idea of adverse selection, right? The idea that just by having more and more information about who your potential matches are in terms of their interests, their likes, their personality, you can basically make dating apps be fantastic. However, the issue with that...
and now they have to hide it behind paywalls because they need your money. I need money! As Arthur would say. Money!
That is that they can become a bit too good, right? And you end up in the situation where every person you match with is actually a pretty good person, and you're therefore extremely likely to quit the app. The ideal situation for these apps is this weird middle ground where they want you to find someone you like, but not too often, and not someone that you like too much, because then you delete the app. But they don't want you
that's another good point. What if you don't even know? Maybe they're fucking with the algorithm like drop rates in Korean MMOs. And, you know, Maple Story went through that whole thing of how they rig the item drops to keep you playing. Maybe they do that with dating apps. They don't match you with people so that they keep you on for longer. TikTok does the same thing inadvertently by providing you with good content. But this is different because it's a different game.
To have zero matches because that means that you'll delete the app super quickly. That's kind of the optimal model of a dating app. What's called a variable ratio reward, where you get a reward at an unpredictable interval, and you get a reward that's big enough every time to keep you chasing.
Oh my god, $36,000! Oh my gosh!
The next one, like a slot machine. And they're playing this like balancing game, and they're clearly not doing a very good job at it. When it comes down to it, ultimately, people want what they've always wanted, which is meaningful connection with others. And I think the real danger here is that people have been generalizing their experiences on dating apps as broader generalizations of how, you know, quote unquote society is today. And I think that's a big problem, because I would hope that most of us understand that, say, social media isn't necessarily a one-to-one representation of how people behave in real life. If you took
I don't think it's a translation of how people act in real life. It's rather you enabling them because of the app existing, and it, like, you wouldn't say horrible shit to someone's face if your real life name and face was attached to your social media, like, profile. It's more showing how horrible and shallow people can be. Like, people used to send people dick pics back in, like, you know, 2002, 2010, 2011, 2014. Like, that's always been a thing since like the dawn of the internet, essentially. They still do. I know, but I'm just saying, where he was bringing up, oh, women get harassed and, like, it sucks for them, right? It's always been like that. Someone finds out you're a girl online, and they'll start being weird if they can. The only difference is that some people have a conscience, and they're like, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this.
Twitter posts, for example, to be the representation of how everyone behaves in general, you'd be scared to go outside. If you took Instagram Reel comments, you'd think everyone was incredibly racist all of the time. It's an algorithmic mirage. Yeah.
What do you mean people are racist all the time? That's why we have wars. I'm sorry. Like, Instagram is horrible. I've seen that shit for myself. Yeah. God. Yeah, you're God.
Exactly. It's an algorithmic mirage, right? These algorithms are so capable of building a mirage that makes you think that what they are showing you is simply a direct representation of what reality is, when it's been filtered through layers and layers of algorithms and psychology in order to fundamentally change how you interact with it. The good thing that we can take home from this is that people are ultimately voting with their wallets, which is by far one of the most effective ways you can actually create change. There's a big trend, you might have seen it, of run clubs now. A lot of people are joining run clubs in order to
Oh, that's kind of cute. Yeah, bring people together, man. Yeah.
find love. And this, to me, is ultimately a good thing. It means that people are actually choosing to create their own alternatives, which is exactly what we need right now. There's many, many angles you can approach this from, but ultimately, the biggest reason they're doing so badly is that they're not providing the service that they promised. The collapse of dating apps doesn't mean the collapse of romantic love. It means that it's actually going to spread a bit more towards the places where it needs to be, towards these organic spaces. But then again, I'm also incredibly single, so, you know, take my words with a grain of salt.
Okay, at least he's honest. That's fat phobic? Okay, man. Alright. Yeah, the running clubs are fat phobic. You have to cater to me.